Hi, welcome back to another episode of Lake Acres. In today's episode, I plan to continue setting up my implements and getting things ready for planting in a couple weeks. And the next thing on the list is the tiller, which shouldn't take very long, just needs to be cleaned up and greased. But before I get to that, I need to do one thing real quick. Monster trucks. All right, on to the video. So as you can see, it's a new day, and I'd love to say that I was a driver in one of those monster trucks, but unfortunately my wife and I were just spectators. It was a really fun date though, and I hope we can do it again next year. But first things first, let's take a look at the list. So last summer I installed wheel spacers on the tractor, and I just want to make sure that those lug bolts are still nice and tight. So I'll check that, and then the next thing we have is pressurize the tank. So if you watched the previous video, you'll see that that blue line for the fertilizer tube got kinked, and I just want to make sure that there's no hole in that, because if I need to order some blue line, I'd like to do that sooner than later. Then after those two things, we'll be able to unhook the planter and attach the tiller and grease up the zerks and get that ready for the season too. So let's get busy. Now I gotta find my torque wrench. I think I have it in this top drawer. Yeah, there it is. Got this nice Tecton torque wrench last year. You only use it like once or twice, but really nice so far. Look at that beauty. I suppose I should figure out how tight these needs to be. I think when I find out how tight these need to be next time, I'm going to Sharpie it right to the wheel. So Google's telling me that these should be tightened down to 175 foot-pounds of torque, which, if I remember correctly, that doesn't sound right. I better go look in the manual. So it looks like it's 103 foot-pounds of torque. And that was really annoying trying to find that again, so I'm going to write it right here on the wheel. So next time, I don't have to look for it. Oh, that tire's good. Yeah, that's good too. Nice, that's good too. All right, nice. Good to see that none of those moved. So guess what? It's another day. It's been a busy week, but we'll get this video done. So getting back to what we were doing, last thing we were working on was tightening the lug bolts on the tractor. And the next thing we got to do is pressurize that blue line on the fertilizer tank to see if there's any leaks in that. So let's go do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is move my truck so I can actually hook up the water hose to the spigot, because it's kind of in the way. I wonder if I can get away with this small hose that I have in the garage right now. Yeah, that should be long enough. So the one downside to what I've done here is every time I take the cap off, I have to unscrew this little clip because it gets bound up in there. So don't really like this design as well. I did originally think about putting this spout right into the tank so I wouldn't have to deal with the hood or the lid, but then if I drilled into the tank, that's a permanent feature that I've added to the tank itself. But if I change the lid, if I don't like it, I can just buy another lid. So. Well, I guess that would help if I close off that spout. All right, plug is installed. Let's try this again. Actually, before I do that, I might as well hook up this line too. All right, now let's try this again. Just gonna make sure that this hose and filter are sitting in the water. Okay, now we can test it. I'll just loosely fit this on there for now, since I'll probably be ended up taking it off again soon. Fire in the hole. Okay, let's see if this thing springs a leak. I think the pump needs to be primed. All right, let's see if we can get this primed. Okay, got it primed. Let's put the lid back on. All right, let's see if it gets any leaks. Excellent. I don't see any leaks. That's good. I didn't really feel like having to fix that right now, so I'm gonna call that done. All right, let's put the seed box back on, and we will move on to taking it off. Just gotta make sure I don't damage that line. Might as well drain this water while I'm at it. Okay, tighten lug bolts. Check. Pressurized tank. Check. Now the planter is all finished, let's go unhook it so we can hook up the tiller. I could probably use a new pallet. This one's getting a little old and rickety. Should be good enough for that. Maybe I'll add a couple more straps to the back. Actually, I found some paracord. I could probably just use that instead. Should work just fine. I like this simple knot. It's called the bowline knot. It's good for having a loop so you can tie down to. Just go like this. Just like that. You know what? I ain't going anywhere. One more thing we have to do before we put the tiller on is put that quick hitch attach back on, so let's go do that first. Well, it's attempting to rain right now, so let's try and get this done quickly so we can get out of the rain. So one thing I just remembered, in order to use the quick hitch on this thing, it has to be in a particular hole down from the top. So this one has to be in the third hole down from the top. So I have to make sure that that's in the right place, and if not, I'll have to go change that. Looks like it's already in the third hole down from the top, so we should be good right there. Well, I might as well clean this up and grease it while it's off the tiller, because that'll be way easier to handle. So I think I'll do that right here. There we go. Looks like I'm running out of acetone. I'm gonna have to pick up some more soon. Last summer in the field when I was tilling, this piece right here, I forget exactly what happened, but it did managed to come off and get a bunch of dirt in it. So I figure I should give it a good clean this spring. Almost need a brush for this. I think this little drill brush will have to do. Be nice to get a real parts washing station. That should be good enough. Just a plastic bushing anyway. I'll probably get another one next year or the year after because it'll probably be worn out by then, but it's got another season for sure. I should probably clean up this grease zerk. It's probably good. I just need to put a little grease in this channel. Should be enough. I just put a little grease into this. All right, now we just got grease the zerk on the tiller itself. Put the PTO on, we should be good. This side of the PTO I really hate because it's hard to get to, but I'll do my best. Well, between this week being crazy busy and my camera batteries constantly dying, I'm having a hard time wrapping up this video. But I just got a couple of things left to do, like attach the PTO to the tiller and get the pallet forks on. Other than that, this video is almost a wrap. I always hate this part, but let's wrestle it on there. I hate trying to find the orientation for this PTO shaft because it only goes on one way, and it would be that way. That actually went on pretty easy this time. I just noticed that the tiller was sitting a little tilted to one side, so I'm going to try and adjust that now. I don't think I've ever used this adjustment screw, so I think I need to lube it up a little bit. Let's see if I go the right way. I think I'm going the wrong way. I don't know how much I need to go. Oh, a lot more still. Ooh, getting close. A couple more turns. This adjustment screw is surprisingly sensitive. Doesn't take a whole lot of movement. That should be good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call that good. All right, I think we are finished and ready to go, except for putting the pallet forks on. Let's do that quick. This is pretty heavy, heavier than I remember. I think I'm just gonna start the tractor and pick it up with the forks. Now I just need to grab the forks and slap them on. These aren't light either. I think I'm gonna bring that down a little bit. A little sticky. These are only the 36-inch tines too. Well, in order to get this out to the farm, I'm gonna have to use the pallet forks to pick it up, throw it on my trailer, because this thing's already gonna be loaded as it is, so I'll have to take this with a different trip. I just realized I don't have nearly enough room to get the tractor between the garage and the trailer in order to dump that off, so I'm gonna have to pull it ahead a little bit. I think I need to do some rearranging. Need a bigger driveway. The best way to check the lights that I found is to turn your lights on and then hit your hazards. That way it basically turns everything on that could be on. You'll check the running lights, brake lights, turning signals. So everything should be on or flashing. Perfect. All right, last but not least, let's get this four-wheeler loaded. Like a glove. Should really get some D-rings to slide in these pockets. That would make mounting this a lot easier and safer for these straps. I've gone through quite a few straps from this sharp edge, chewing them up. Couple more straps and this thing will be solid. I was going through here, but I was kind of chewing up the straps. I'd have to type one here, I guess. It's not the best place, but should do. I'm not going that far anyway, so should be fine. Famous last words, right? Love you too. All right. Finally done. Whoops, found a zerk that I almost missed. Better hit that real quick. Might jinx myself, but I think we're done. Let's take one last glance at the whiteboard. Let's see, unhook planter, did that. Attach tiller, did that. Grease the zerks, yep, did that. Well, I'm gonna call that a wrap on this video. Between a crazy busy week, monster trucks, multiple dead batteries, we finally got this video done. Stick around for the next video when I transfer all this stuff back out to the farm, and then we'll really start the season off. But I better get going though, because it looks like my battery is about to die.